Hey guys, we are back for day 70 whatever it is, and today we are going to be doing a lot of copying and pasting because we are creating instance meshes for all the static meshes in the background so that we can reduce draw calls and everything should be much faster. So I have a system in place that is going to replace all normal static meshes with instance meshes. Hi there DXD Sin, how are you doing? How are we doing today? So, but we're going to try and have a little bit of fun with it, right? And we'll swap between the fun version and the keyboard version of copying and making new instance meshes. So I'm going to show you guys what I have to do to create the instanced mesh version, and I'll explain it to you. So this is our base instanced mesh, and all it is an actor with an instance static mesh. Okay, and basically we add an instance of that mesh. It's a fine night here, so I'm taking it you're in Europe or east of Europe. And in our event graph, we basically have nothing, right? Because these are just going to be basically static meshes that are going to do absolutely nothing. And that's a bit of a bummer. I've just realized that these should all be static. Okay? Which means that I'm going to have to go through every single one of these well, hopefully you're doing okay in Turkey. So basically I'm going to have to go through these and set them to static, which wasn't my idea of going to be fun. But there we have it. We've kind of goofed up there. And the best way to do this for now is just to get this done. At least we've spotted it now. Right, okay. So let me just go through these. I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but none of these meshes are going to move, so we should really set them all to static. And this just adds a little bit of work on top of what we were doing before, right? But I'm as well doing it now. And then we'll go through the process of actually creating our static mesh. right? But we've got a few to do here. But as I said, it's better to have caught it now before we have to basically go through every single one that we've created, which is what we're going to have to do, but at least it's not at the end when we have to go through every single one of them. Because now when we create it, this will be created static, which is what we want. So a bit of an oversight there, but hey ho. And then, as I said, I'm going to show you me creating one of these meshes, instance meshes, and then I'm going to show you something that I use to make it a bit faster. Now, for those of you who watch regularly, you will have noticed that last night I didn't stream. And the reason for that was the fact that I was doing this type of thing, which is very, very repetitive. And basically, I wasn't going to subject you guys to 2 hours of this nonsense. Although I'm going to do it today because, well, I saved you last night. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that down. Right, then I think we just did this one, which is fine. Yep, we did. So that's so cool. I was wondering why. Yeah, I didn't, as I said, I didn't want to subject you guys to 2 hours of copy and paste. Right, but I'm going to do it today just to punish you for your holiday last night. And there really isn't a way of sort of making that announcement on YouTube that you're not going to stream, right? Which is a bit unfortunate. But we're going to do some of this. We're going to do a bit of our copy and pasting, and then, as I said, I'm going to show you how I did this last night to do it a bit quicker. Right now, it's number one, a bit quicker, but number two, it's a lot less stressful on your hands, because we were doing a lot of this stuff last night, but I was using voice control to do it, which I shall demonstrate just shortly once we get all these done. Did we? Yes, we did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the software that I use. Now you guys can get a free version of this, and you can basically, there is a free version of it, but you only get one profile, which means that you can only use it one setup. Okay, now if you buy the paid version, and it isn't expensive, I can assure you that, it's about $5 or something, you can set up voice control for like all of your games and have different profiles for each game or each program that you want to use it with, right? So as I said, I shall show you that in a minute. I used to use it a lot for Elite Dangerous because there's so many buttons on that. and then you can set up basically macros that do multiple things. But we'll just get through this first, get this done, and then we shall have a look at that as well as creating our static meshes, okay? Instance meshes, that is. Right, not too many to go here. We are going to have to do this for the rest of the ones that we've already created, which there's a few, I can tell you that. Right, but okay, but as I said, I wanted to spare you guys something very similar to this, which is a lot of repetitive stuff. So you guys today are helping me pass the time. Now, did anybody see the Manchester United Barcelona game? Because that's what I was doing this morning while creating some of these that you're seeing just now. I was basically had the Manchester United Barcelona game on my other screen, and I was basically just creating the instance meshes. Don't know if any of you guys out there like football or not. Right, and we're going to close this down again. And open it up here. Right, we're on the home straight. Right, not too many to go. I don't think I could have automated this, or if I did, it would be very pernickety. Right, but we can certainly do, I'll show you how I do some of the automation of this in a second when I create the meshes. Right, 4 to go. We're getting there, guys. As I said, it's a very boring process, but unfortunately it is required, so one has to do it. Right. So that's all these ones, okay? So what we've got here is our base. We've set it to static here, so we're all good, okay? So what I do is I create 2 folders, the instance meshes, the static meshes. And then what I do is I basically create the instance mesh, and once I have done that, I'll move this into here so that I know which ones I've done and which ones I haven't done. Okay, so here is the process for creating these static meshes. Right, now first of all, we do need another thing open, which is this. Okay, so basically since last night, we want this like that, we have created basically all of these. Okay, so I've created 188 instance meshes from static meshes. Okay, so we need that open because that's part of the process. So what we're going to do is go back to our biomass, because that's the ones we're doing. So we select this, we hit F2, then copy that so that we get the exact name. Then we duplicate this, we take that off and paste the name in, hit return, open this, go to this static mesh, then paste. We select that one, we compile it, we close that, then we add, then we paste and paste and paste, then we save. Okay, and what that does is gets this ready to replace any on the map. Okay, then we drop that one into there. Okay, so we've got one less to do. Then we click on that, F2, copy, instance mesh, duplicate, take that out, paste it in here, instance mesh, paste, do that, compile it, close that, add that, paste, paste, select, paste, select, save it. Back to your meshes, move it into here. Okay, and that's basically what we do, right? But we have another way of doing it. Okay, now, and here's how it's done. Do you have a player start? Lambros Mill. Do you have a player start, and are you using assets? And if you are, you'll need to see if one of your assets is basically spawning in a particular location. Okay, so you might want to check like your map blueprint and your game mode blueprint. Okay, without having a look at your project, it would be very difficult to answer that question. But you should probably be doing a search on spawn to see if there's somewhere that you spawn your character, right? If there's some blueprint somewhere from an asset or whatever that's doing a spawn of your character. Okay, but as I said, it's hard to tell without seeing your project and without having a look at the map to see if there's a player start or not, or whatever. So let me just try and help me here. I have to go into the test map to do it, to start with. And I'm glad of the question, Lambros Mill, because, as I said, today's stream is going to be a lot of copying and pasting. Right, so you'll notice here, I have a player start, which is this thing here, right? So you'll notice that this will show up as a player start. Okay, so that is where your player is going to spawn. Okay, so in your outliner here, have a look and type in here like player, and that's going to filter out, and you'll be able to find it, and then if you double click on it, it'll take you to the location. Okay, so hopefully that'll help you, Lambros Mill, and we'll go back to our static meshes. So we're going to do one more like this, and then I'm going to show you the little bit of fun that we can have, and doing a boring job, if we can make it a little bit more fun and quicker, then all the better. Right, I don't seem to have... Right, okay. Drop a player start in, then add a player start. It's in your basic. You see in here, basic player start, and just drag it in. Okay, so we go to here, we paste it, we save it, then we close this, we add, and basically paste. Right, didn't select that there. Paste that, paste that, save it. Okay, now I'm going to switch this on, right, but I'm probably going to switch it off again, right, but I am now going to do the same process but use voice control, right? So we have just done this one, so we move that, and the next thing we're going to do is we've got this voice attack. Okay, now I did a bit of programming on it last night, and we're now going to check to see if it's going to work for us today. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to say rename. Rename. Right, well, it looks like, have we got rename? Okay. Right, let me show you this. Okay, so the problem at the moment is that it's not actually listening for me. So I'm going to have to go in here and I am probably going to have to go for this. Ah, wait a minute, no I don't. So we can go back to here and we can select this. Right. Rename. Rename. Apparently it doesn't want to work. This was working last night, but I'm not sure if this is going to cause problems across the board here with, what do you call it? With let's do that. Rename. Wait a minute. Okay, so I can't show this and have it, but I have to have this. Rename. Okay, it's not working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my settings and I'm going to change this back, and I'm going to change that back rename. When I say rename, by the way, I'm talking to the voice command system, which ain't working at the moment. I'm just gonna have to stick on my headphones with the microphone there and use that one. Rename. Copy. Dupe. Rename back. Paste. Done. Paste. Compile. Paste. 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 Save. And there you go, guys. That's how you do voice attack. Rename. Copy. Dupe. Rename back. Paste. Done. Done. Okay, we have a problem here with this one. It didn't copy the name. Right, so this works quite well, because if you try to do the same name again, well, that's good, Lambros Mill, I'm happy for you, mate. Hit that like and subscribe for the help. Right, so we're gonna have to do this one again. So rename, copy, dupe, rename back, paste, done. Paste, compile, paste, 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 Save. And we move that one in there. Rename. Copy. Dupe. Rename back. Paste. Done. Paste. Compile. Paste. 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 Save. Rename. Copy. Dupe. Rename back. Paste. Done. Paste. Compile. Paste. 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 Save. Rename. Copy. Dupe. Rename back. Paste. Done. Paste. Compile. Paste. 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 Save. Okay guys, I've switched off voice attack, but that gives you an idea of what you can do. It makes it a lot faster, but obviously it doesn't make for a very nice watching experience for a stream. Because how do I put animations to a character? Okay, how do you put animations to a character? Well, you're going to have to study blueprint animations, or depending, it's when you're doing like logic like that, you really need to do AI plus animation blueprints. Right, I'll show you a animation blueprint and I'll show you an AI, which is basically an AI controller plus a behavior tree and a blackboard, and that also comes into effect with all of them together, basically. Right. So this is an animation blueprint. Okay. And this will probably look like complete gibberish to you, which it will do when you first start, but you have to learn it. Okay. And this, your idle walk run, is based on a blend space. So you'll notice that that just does a blend space, which is this thing here. Forget that one. right? This is a blend space. If we open that up, you'll see that it blends between walking and running and idle. And that depends on a multitude of things. Right, but you need to create one of these in blend space, and then you've got to pass the speed that you're going to the blend space so that it knows what speed it's going and where along the blend space to play the animation. Okay, now this isn't as complicated as it sounds, but you need to do it bit by bit. Okay, so that is your blueprint animation, which basically looks something like this for the event graph of the animation. You will definitely have this speed and direction, and this is stuff that is basically for our character only. But yours could be a lot simpler, like it will just be this, a speed and a direction. Okay, and then you're going to have the same thing for your monster, but for the monster, if it's using AI, right, what you would then do is basically create a controller, right, which is this thing here, which is basically a controller. Then you will have a blackboard which stores the variables for your AI, and you will have something like this, a behavior tree, right? And this will tie into your animation graph or your animation blueprint. Right, but you will need to learn these things individually, okay, and learn how to put them together. Okay, and it is not a 10-minute tutorial. You need to learn each one individually and then be able to put them all together. As I said, you don't need this for your character because obviously you're not using AI, right? But you will be doing an animation blueprint for your character. So I would go and have a look at some stuff regarding that, basically. Now, my previous videos, if you find the right ones, they do have me doing animation blueprints and basically behavior AI. So if you can find the right one, if you look in the description, you will probably be able to find one that kind of shows you what you need to do. Now, as I said, they're not necessarily tutorials, but I do try to explain some of it as we do it. But as I said, your best idea is just to do a search. This is me now doing this just manually with copies and pastes normally on the keyboard. right, which is a bit slower. And basically a lot more work for your fingers to do and moving of the mouse. But it is a bit less of an annoyance, I would say, for if you're streaming and me repeating the same things over and over again. Right. Let me show you something that will help you guys out in a second that a lot of people don't know about. Right, I'll show you in a second once I get to the right place again to show you guys. Right. Duplicating. Right. Okay, pay attention here. Not to this part, but in a second I'll show you what I mean. Right. When you compile, right, what you can do is you can set it to always save. Okay, so you don't need to compile, save, compile, save, compile, save, right? What you can do is if you hit this arrow, it gives you the option to save on compile. And if you say always, then that is why I just press that button and then I close it, because it always saves. Okay, so you can remember, you can set that here by never saving on compile, on success only, or always. I just always have it on always, right? So if you compile, it automatically saves. Okay, I think by default it's never. Okay, so that should save you hitting compile and save, compile and save every time you make a change. If you just set that up, it will save automatically for you, right? And you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so hopefully there's another little tip for you guys to make life a little bit easier. Right, so we're copying that, duplicate it, rename it, in here, static mesh, do that, paste that, close that, add that, click there, paste that, and save. So as I said, this is why I didn't want to do this last night, because it is basically just a lot of copying and pasting. Right, not exactly thrilling viewing, but if like Lambros you have a problem, then let me know in the chat and we can see and have a look and see if we can give you advice. and that will break up the monotony of creating all these instance meshes. Right, really, if we'd have thought about this in advance, we would actually have created these meshes as we actually used them. So once you used like a static mesh, you would create an instance version of it. Right, but unfortunately we didn't have the foresight, which is understandable. We didn't realise how heavy our map would be on the engine. But hey ho, you live and learn. And once we've done most of this, we'll go and check to see how our mega crazy asset replacer, the values it's given us once we've done this. Okay, so we just dodge away on this. Now, what you've not realised is, in the time we've started here, we've done another 20. We've created 20 instance meshes, right? So, as I said, whatever you guys, if you ever have to do something like this, which you probably will, if you're making like a open world game, you can stick on your favourite music or your favourite audiobook or whatever, stream and hope that people talk to you to break up the monotony of it, and you just basically get on with it, right? And we've only got 4 to do for the biomass, right? Now we've still got a lot to do, but at least we're getting there, we're making progress, we're getting it done, and that's all you can really ask for under the circumstances. And hopefully it's all going to be worth it in the end when we get an acceptable frame rate. Right, because that at the end of the day is why we're doing this. We're creating the instance meshes so that they use the same efficiency as like your foliage in the landscape material or the landscape object, right? This is what we're doing here. We're basically making it use the same instanced version. You know how when you do grass and that, you can put down millions of grass? Well, the only reason you can put down millions of grass is because they are automatically instanced. right? And that is what we're doing here, right? So basically our map is going to be created in the same way as like your landscape. So it's automatically going to be fast and efficient. Or at least that's the idea. And we've still to test it in a robust manner, but whichever way we do it, there is no disadvantage of having these as instance meshes, right? And creating these instance meshes, because we might need them later for some other reason. Okay? So that's why we're doing it. Right, so want to go in this particular directory. And that. Right, there we go. Save that. Meshes, that goes in there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our editor helpers, right? And we're going to go to our Mega Crazy Asset Replacer. We're going to run that. And I think we're only on the test map, aren't we? Right, this is going to basically give us nothing. Yeah. Ignore this. Okay. In fact, we could... I don't know why it's doing that. It's got 1040, but there's no way that there's 1040 static meshes, okay, on this map. Right, so this is kind of weird. This is more like a total static meshes 5. That is correct. This 1040, don't know what it is. Don't know why it comes up with something like that, but anyway. Right, so I'm going to take a break for 5 minutes. If you guys are enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for links to the games Discord, my personal Discord, Patreon, and my previous game on Steam, along with a link to our website. Don't go anywhere, folks. I shall be back in 5. Okay guys, we are back. I'm just checking on the soccer scores, or football as we normally call it. And there's no really mega clash of teams. The earlier one was probably the biggest tie of the day, which was Barcelona-Manchester United, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to a more interesting map, okay, and I believe we have to go to here and open this one. And I should have shown you what the whole point of this is, but we won't be able to see anything. But if you notice, we have a lot of stuff in our outliner. Okay. And we can then run our editor widget, right? Get stats. So take a moment to count through everything. And it's doing stuff here, so we're going to have to wait until it's complete. And it's doing this build mesh distance fields as well. So we're going to have to wait for that. Okay. Now I know this is not complete yet because these buttons aren't available to us, and I think it's to do with this as well. So we're just going to have to wait a second. And hopefully it isn't going to crash. Let me check the taskbar, task manager even. And it might have crashed. Yep, it's crashed. Hopefully it saved everything, right? Or we're going to be really, really mega pissed off. Right, so I think the best idea is not to run the mega crazy asset thingy when it's doing something else. So hopefully we've learned our lesson. And you can see here that it's doing this again. It looks like we haven't lost anything, thankfully. Right, but it's doing this. I'll get this widget reflector back for you guys as well. Alright, so you can see a bit better. Okay. I think the best idea here is just to wait till it's finished. Right? There should be, wow, we basically did 100. There was 100 of these. Well, actually 99, not including the instance there. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to open this, right? Then we're going to go to meshes, then we're going to open plants and do this one, right? How many plants do we have? 20 I believe, right? So we may as well start on this while it's doing this building mesh distance fields. It's down to 3, 2, 1, done. Right, okay, what we'll do is we'll save all. Then we'll go to our editor helpers. We'll open up this. And then we'll say get stats. Right, and it says 0 because we don't have a level open. Okay, so we're going to have to go into here and then open the caves. Okay. And you'll notice there are 3,123 actors. Now, if we go by this, right, we can go like that. And there we go, actually. There is 2,641 static mesh actors in this. Okay. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. And for some reason it looks like this widget is basically destroying everything. Right, it's basically not working. Okay, it is it is basically locking up here. So we're going to have to edit this, and it looks like we're going to have to close down Unreal Engine again, right? Because this seems to be killing us stone dead. Now this was all working last night, and I don't know why it's not working now. I don't know if it's because we're using this map or what, basically. Or there is just too much on this map for it to handle. I don't know at this point, right? But whatever's going on, it ain't working. Now we're going to do something very, very simple here to check if it is our widget or if there's something to do with the way I am loading the map that is basically killing what's going on. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into here, and we're actually going to open this up, right? And we are basically what I'm going to do here right, this is the button stats, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say get all actors of class, okay? And then I'm going to get the length, we're going to do that. Then we're going to say static mesh actor, okay? We're going to compile that. We're going to go back to our designer, right? And this thing here, we're going to copy that. We're going to go to our graph, and we're going to say total meshes get, and then we're going to say set text, and that's going to go in there, and that's going to go there. Oopsie, that's going to go there, right? So the only thing it's going to fill in is this one here, okay? So the point is, if I go to maps and I go to test map, okay, we load up test map. Right, so we have loaded the test map, and what we want to do is click on type, and you can see here this is the static mesh. So we have 5. Okay, so if we go into editor helpers and run this, minimize that, get stats, we get 5, which is exactly what we expected. Right, now if we go back to here, do our graph thing, and do this, compile that, this will reset, get stats, you can see there total static mesh is 5, etc. This number here, no idea what it means, right? But it appears to be, depending on the way you load the map, it's whether this actually works or not. It's nothing to do with this widget, it's to do with the fact of how you load up the persistent levels and stuff, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to save all, right? And then if we go to the maps and then we load this, okay, I am wondering, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if we run this again, this is correct. Okay, and I believe if we go to here, we go to caves and load, right? Now get stats. Now I know this takes a bit longer. And let's give it a second or two. Now, I think this is locked up again, so this must be something to do with the way that we are loading these things, right? Because basically we have locked up again, right? Okay, so this is not so good, because I wasn't getting this type of these type of problems yesterday. It really only started last night when we were trying to do things in a different way. Right. So I'm not 100% sure. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're in the designer again, right? What I'm going to do is we're going to come in here and I'm going to add a circular throbber. Right. We'll make it 64. Okay, and what we'll do here is we'll compile that for now, and the circular throbber will say hidden. Okay. And then we'll set it to visible. Okay. Then we'll do that. Then we'll duplicate that and stick it on the end. Here. And that is going to be here. Right, so we'll compile that, and basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start, like, each branch I'm going to stop and start it. Like, I'm going to allow it to do this part, then I'm going to allow it to do this part and this part, and then I'm going to see which part is basically screwing this up. Right? Event construct is doing nothing, which is what we want. Right. Right. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this on the test map. Right, because we know it works on the test map. Okay, so this is getting a bit Right. Okie dokie. So we open up again our editor helper and we run our widget, then we say get stats. Okay. What we do, this one here, we set it to hidden again. Okay. So we get stats. And it didn't seem to actually show for very long, did it? If at all. Right, okay. Well, we know it works on the main map. Right, our problems start creeping in. When right, so get stats. Don't know what happened there. Okay, I think what we're going to have to do here, total static mesh is 4, which we know is correct. Right? What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do that. Right? Now, this is going to be a very, very big number. The number of times this is actually going to loop is going to be very big. Right? I'm going to delete this. Right, now I might have to do something on this, right? Because this is going to loop so many times, right? It's going to be quite horrible how many times it actually loops, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to call this txt loops, just to give us an idea right? And then I'm going to add a variable, and I'm going to say loop count, right? And it's going to be an integer. I'm going to say loop count get, and I'm going to say increment, right? Now this is going to be a horrific number. Okay, and we're going to do that, and we're going to set it to 0 before we do anything. Right, and on completion we're going to do text loops, and we're going to set and it's going to be the bottom here, set text, right, and it's going to be that, and that's going to go in there. Drag this out the way a bit, right, we'll do that. So the thing is, what we might need to do here is not read it from the data table. Well, read it from the data table, right, but then put the contents of the data table into a variable and then loop through that instead of looping through the data table again. Or thinking of a different way of doing it, right, but either way, right, I'll tell you what we'll do. In the meantime, we shall not do the no instance. Okay, we'll compile that. And we're going to load that. Okay, we're going to save all. We're going to come to here and get stats. You can see we have this. And we did 198,000 checks. Okay, which is kind of what we expected. Right. So we'll run our thing again. That's weird. That's weird. Right. That's weird for a couple of reasons. You'll notice that this didn't become visible at all. Right, so I'm going to delete this out as a bad idea. Right, now okay, so what we'll do next is we'll basically get it to run no instance. Except we'll stop it there. Right? Right, did that, no problem. And it did all these things as well. Right, so that was actually fine. Right, so we'll allow it to do that, then we'll allow it to do this. Right, we'll move this. Okay, put that there, we'll save that, except we'll set that to hidden, save that, then we'll save all. Right, then we'll get our widget, get stats, that's bonkers. Right, now it did get all of our stuff, right? But it didn't get our other stuff. Right? So I'm going to just delete this because it's not doing what we expect it to do, right? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to break this sequence. Then I'm going to plug it in here. Then I'm going to lose that. I'm going to save that. Now what this is going to give us is account. Yep. Now I'm going to do this. Okay. And we'll break this down piece by piece until this doesn't work. SB Game Dev. We have a stretch goal to make it co-op, or we're gonna have a Kickstarter stretch goal to make it co-op, but at the moment it's single player. Okay, so it says we have 126 meshes that aren't with no instance, but that's not strictly true, because there's only I think there's 16 in the list, right? So if we go to stone, I make it 28, right? The total static meshes are 2,676. Okay. Now remember, that might be because we took out some code, right? Like for example, this one. UK. So this, as you can see, it's not telling us this number here. So if we do the get stats again, wow, it appears to be this thing here that's screwing us up. Well, that's a good thing, because now we know what the problem is. Yep, it has indeed crashed, right? So that is a good thing. Because now we can fix it. Right? And that's kind of the reason why I was going through it piece by piece, to find out what was screwing us and what wasn't. Now, I still think there's some weird things going on with persistent levels and stuff, right? Don't get me wrong on that one. Right, but if we go back to our maps now, right, go to here and open main. And the funny thing is, the meshes that we can replace, we don't actually need it, right? Right, so if I put that back, compile that, save all, right? And if we do exactly what we did before, right, we load up the caves, right, and then we make current, then we go to our edit helpers and this and run it. Now if I'm right here, this should work. Right, so it gave us meshes with no instance. Right, now that is actually okay, because if I do one of these and there's 4 of them, these are the meshes that we don't have an instance for, but the total number of meshes, we might have 2 of them, 4 of them, 6 of them, 7 of them. Right, the total static meshes within this map are 2,676, okay? Now, if we now go to here, and we go to here, this is just basically setting up some other things. Right. We should be able to run this again. And there we go. Right. So we have the total static meshes is 2,676. Okay, now this morning I was working on all of these, right? These are all the static mesh types. Okay, now there is a reason for having these buttons, right? And that's because if I click on this, you'll notice that it jumps to this, right? And then what I can do is get this and find out where it is, right? And then I can basically create the instance meshes for this directory, okay? So that's the reason for that button there, okay? So you'll notice that we have a list of the mushroom grass, okay? Now, what we can now do is we can go to our mushroom grass, and you'll notice that I've put the blank instance in there. So now what we can do is we can say F2 copy instance mesh, duplicate that, paste that. Now what we're going to have to do here is open our mesh replace, because we're going to be putting stuff in here, or at least even more stuff. Then we can go back to here, open this up. Right, we want to be able to see that. Right, we go to our instance mesh, paste that, close, copy that, compile it, close it, add one, go to here, paste it, paste it. Right, we'll drag it up a little bit, paste that, save that. Okay, then what we do is we move that into static meshes so we know it's done. Then we go to the next one. copy that, instant meshes, do that, paste that, open it up, set the mesh, compile that, close that, add one here, same thing, and save it. Now you'll notice that this was A01, A02, right? And you will notice that we have A01, A02. Okay, but if I do get stats, right, you'll notice that those two disappeared because we have instances for them. Okay, I have just created the instances for them, and if I continue through all of these, then we can basically get this to work, right? So what I can do now is, we've got A2, we've done it, so we move it into here, we do the next one, right? Right, we just paste, 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 save it, plants, drag that in there, move it, F2, copy, duplicate, paste the name on the end, hit return, open it, set the mesh, add this one, save it, go to here, drag that in, okay, paste that, select that one, compile, close it, add, okay. Right, so now what we can do is we've saved a few, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So if we get stats again, we've now got 3, 6, 9, 10. Okay. don't believe that that one was required. Right, but yeah, okay. I believe that this type was made so that you could, it was basically designed to be used as foliage, which used instance meshes anyway. Don't know what's going on there. Right, I don't think that that's a static mesh. The foliage ones aren't static meshes. Right, so we can basically forget them. And I think I'm going to call it at that. I'm just going to be doing a lot more copying and pasting and creating these instances. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe, it helps a lot. Check out the descriptions for links to the games Discord, my personal Discord, Patreon, my previous game on Steam, and a link to our website. So thank you for joining. I'll be back at 8 PM tonight in 4 hours time. That's 8 PM Central. Bye bye for now.